Cusp of Leo and Virgo. I love this cusp. I have so many close friends who have a lot of the energies on this cusp, especially Venus, Mars, and Moon, and all sorts of stuff. Some of my favorite artists are born on the sun sign of this cusp, uh, whether it's Robert Plant or Julian Casablancas, Joe Strummer. I think Lane Staley is on this cusp too. It's just an incredible cusp. So kudos. I think, man, where to begin? Where to begin? Where to begin? I think this is such a beautiful blend of Leo creativity and Virgo analysis, and you guys make incredible artists, incredible leaders. Um, it's really ironic because part of you guys with that Leo energy needs that spotlight, needs that place of encouragement, that role of guiding other people, that role of expressing and being heard. And the Virgo part literally wants the exact opposite of that. Virgo wants to hide, to be a servant, to not, be paid too many respects and whatnot. I mean, of course they want respect, but it's not like they don't have the ego that Leo does. They don't have the ego that any fire sign does, but especially Leo, the sun, where everything revolves around it, in both good and challenging ways. Um, it's a very interesting mix. Like I always say, every cusp is an interesting, very different energies. You don't have like Scorpio and Cancer right next to each other as a cusp. It's Scorpio with Libra and with and Sag. It's just very different energies. And with this cusp, you have a very interesting, honestly, very enviable mix of, rather very admirable, not enviable, very admirable mix of that ardor, that fire of Leo, and the keen mind and intellectualism of Virgo. Not just an air intellectualism, but Virgo energy is very practical, very technical, very concerned with the details, very concerned with efficiency, making sure everything works together. I think that's what makes those on this cusp so very creative, because yes, they have that Leo need to express themselves, but I mean, otherwise they'd just be roaring all the time. That Virgo enables that roar to be something that's decipherable, something that's beautiful, something that's well put together, something that's well thought out. This cusp is capable of creating such beauty. And honestly, I do find myself returning to, this is a big artist cusp. I really think it's that Leo energy, really, because I have a lot of Cancer Leo cusp energy, and I definitely I feel that artist energy. It's interesting to be on the other side, to be on the Leo Virgo cusp, because this cusp, out of all the cusps, I would say, in my personal perspective, is the most creative and the most. I mean, it's hard to say the most creative, because Aries and Sag are creative too. And Cancer's creative in its own ways, but it's the most creative in the sense of feeling the need to literally bring something into existence, to create. Leo energy is very often tied up with the act of creation. And I don't really remember where I was going with that, but anyways, with Virgo influence, man, it's an incredible cusp. It's left me speechless. So, we've kind of covered some of the really beautiful rewards that need to create the incredible ability to put things together. Let's talk about some of the challenges. Oh man, this cusp definitely provides a challenge of dogmatism. A lot of people I know with these energies, as well as some of those artists I was mentioning before, have a big challenge. There's a big need to control everything and to have it in its own particular place. You have that Leo, king queen mentality of I will rule all of this, and the Virgo mentality of trying to get it perfect. That's the biggest challenge I find with this cusp, and especially with Venus on this cusp, because Venus and Virgo energy, is being very dogmatic, being very bossy in the hope or in the goal of perfection, of finding the right thing, of getting it just right. That can be really hard to deal with, and sometimes impossible for other people. And, for you guys too at this cusp, because ultimately Virgo energy tries to perfect things because they're trying to perfect themselves. It all comes back to an inner psychological state. And Virgos are very intelligent, and so they'll recognize this if they're open to it, and if they've thought about it, or if somebody offers a suggestion, usually a Gemini. Hey, maybe you don't need to perfect everything. Perfection is imperfection. You should embrace the moment where you're at now, because ultimately it's perfect exactly as it is, and it's never going to be your idea of perfect. You're going to experience wonderful, beautiful things in life, but there's no way to orchestrate all that. We can't plan out the rest of our lives. We can't plan out really anything in our lives. We have ideas, we have our tentative plans, but it's not like we can just say to the universe, okay, this is what I'm going to order. I want to have a wife or a husband. I want to have 3 kids. They're going to look like this. They're going to be born this days. I'm going to do this for the next 20 years, and I'm going to retire, and then I'm going to do this. You can't do that shit. I mean, again, you can, but it's not going to work out that way. The universe doesn't say, okay, do you want fries with that? Is there anything, It's a very important thing for those on this cusp to get past that, because there's a lot of suffering that I've witnessed on this cusp, really. And again, the dogmatism and the perfection seekingness, that all comes from a very dark place within, with a lot of fear and a lot of pain. And ultimately, that fear comes down to, well, there's a lot of things, really. But I mean, I guess you could say fear for survival, fear for just living in the first place and be like, what the fuck? I find existentialism is a wonderful thing for this cusp, whether you're studying Sartre or Kierkegaard or Bukowski. Bukowski has a lot on this cusp, and he's not strictly existentialist, but his work very much is in the vein of that, of, alright, fuck society, fuck other people's standards, I am going to define for my own life what's important. I'm going to be the one, because it's my life. Ultimately, it's my life. I'm going to, like Nietzsche too, existentialism, go into the dark with my own lantern, and illuminate my way. I have no idea where I'm going. I have no idea. It's all dark around me. But I see this. This makes sense to me. This will always burn as long as I have passion and enthusiasm for life. Where am I going to go? And in fact, it's funny. His Venus is right on the cusp of Leo. And he's got tons of Leo energy. Sun, Mercury, Jupiter. Yay, Jupiter and Leo. Yeah, man. Tons. And Moon in Virgo, for that matter. So he'd be a great person to study if you have a lot of this cusp's energy. Or if you have a lot of Aquarius and Pisces, other cusp. But yeah, there really is a need for these energies to define your life in your own way. When younger, you try and, Leo needs to be heard. As independent as it is, it very much does need its outlet for fulfillment. It needs its outlet for audience, for to be heard, to be considered, to have its voice heard. Leo energy needs that. And when young, a lot of Leo people, I have a lot of Leo myself, and I've definitely felt this. When young, you feel that urge to get that applause in whatever way people are applauding. So it's really not you unearthing your own creativity and showing it to the world. It's you going through hoops to try and get that applause that, as a Leo energy person, again, speaking from personal experience, we so desperately need, in our souls. When younger, when older, we reach the better part of this. We, the Virgo element of when younger too is we break ourselves down thinking that we're not good enough, we're not this enough, we're too much that, we're not enough this. And so not only are we find ourselves very destructively going through hoops trying to find solace, trying to find solace through appreciation. Not only that, but we make ourselves feel horrible. Virgo is, out of all the energies, the most nitpicky energy towards other people, yes, as is very famous. But honestly, that all comes from, again, inside. A nitpicky Virgo is nitpicky first and foremost and most of all to themselves. And when young, that combination, that cusp's energy of Leo, that need to, everything we were saying before with Virgo, can get very devastating, and you can really tear yourself apart. My sister's a Leo with Venus and Virgo on that cusp, and I've definitely seen that. I felt that, and Mercury and Leo too. It's it's a lot of challenge. It's a big challenge for this sign's energy, definitely. But again, the beautiful thing is this: is once you get past that, once you define for yourself, all right, this is my life. I am my own sun. Sun, S-U-N. I am my own star. I am the one who has to deal with my pleasures. I am the one who has to deal with my pain. Nobody else has any standards that could ever surpass my own for my life. Not because my standards are better, which, in a sense they are, because they're your standards for your life, as it should be. But just because that. It's not because better standards. You don't have to try and prove your standards are better than anyone else's, It's just that it's your life. It's your existence. Once you embrace that with your powerful Leo creative energies, which not only could be, expressed through art, music, drama, whatever, visual art. Actually, I have a friend who's on this cusp, and funnily enough, she's a visual artist. And I said, hey, I talked to her. It's been a while. But it also comes out through leadership, through guidance, being a wonderful parent. Leo is definitely a wonderful parent, and Virgo energy is so selfless, always wanting to help. And so keen and analytical that really whatever you turn your attentions towards, whatever fires you up, whatever really inspires you as a person, you'll succeed incredibly because of that Leo tenacity, that Leo drive, that focus. I mean, the power of the sun, for God's sakes, combined with that Virgo analysis. It is a beautiful thing to be on this cusp. I mean, to be on any cusp, yeah, they all have their rewards, they all have their challenges, but this cusp, I particularly really find it beautiful at the power of self in this cusp, combined with the selflessness and service of Virgo. It's a very beautiful thing. And whether you turn whatever inspires you, I really urge you to let go of fears, let go of doubts. Do what you're meant to do in this life. It's going to pass all too quickly for all of us. So we might as well be devoting our time to something that's worthwhile and really uplifts us. It's a big challenge for those on this cusp to embrace the Leo side of them when that Virgo side of them is saying, no. And also, it's really hard to embrace the Virgo side when the Leo side is going, oh, but my ego, but I need to do this, I need to express, I need to, Virgo, that Virgo part has got to be included in the artistry, that intelligence, the analysis, that keen eye for detail needs to be combined with the creativity, the power, the drive, the leadership. I really urge you to let go of your fears and to follow your passions. They'll guide you into heaven on earth. And I also urge you to let go of your ego sometimes. To not always be the center of attention. Yes, that is your role. Yes, that is the role of the sun. You are a warming person. Even if you're on the cusp of Virgo, or rather if you're on the side, even if you're on the cusp, even if you're on the side of Virgo on this cusp, you have that warmth to you. Virgo can be very cold, so sometimes it's not readily available or, present, especially with strangers and stuff. But it's there. And so I really urge you, too, to be selfless in those times that you need to be completely selfless and not... you can be your regular, playful, loving, lovely Leo self, but Sometimes we need to let go of our egos, let go of our need for recognition, our need for this, our need for that, all these needs, and just serve. Very often, I think you'll find yourself going from one role to the other, one being the dignified creator, guiding us all into a better life with your original, heartfelt works. Again, whether it's art or leadership or talks, whatever. And then you might find yourself the next moment being in that selfless, serving role. Either way, you make the world a better place, and either way, you're fulfilling your energies. It's important to find that balance. Somebody with a lot of Leo still on this cusp is going to feel that need to serve. And somebody with a lot of Virgo is going to feel, but still on this cusp of Leo, still going to feel that need to shine. So let yourself do both. There's no such thing as being trapped. You have free will. Choose. This is your life. You have your own lantern. Nobody can ever put it out. Go explore the darkness. One last thing I can really think of is keeping an eye on Mercury retrogrades is a great idea, because Mercury retrogrades happen the most out of all the different planets for us. It happens 3 times a year, and very much affects those with a lot of Gemini or Virgo energies. And also keeping an eye on the sun's path through all the signs would be a very helpful thing. With all my Leo, rising, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Moon right on the cusp. With all my Leo, we all go through cycles through every month, through every lunar cycle. The seasons are just one big solar cycle. We all go through these cycles, but especially those with Leo, I find we're just impacted by the sun more, really. And so when the sun is in Libra, we're gonna feel it more, and we gotta look at ourselves and go, okay, so what's going on here? What can I do to make things better? What do I have to just live with? Okay. And doing that all the time, I think, is a very worthwhile thing. I mean, that's life, is especially with Leo energy going, okay, how do I feel about this? What do I think? It all starts from here. This is the source of your power, being on this cusp. Yourself. Look at the sun. The sun's not saying, hey, Saturn, can I borrow some gas to burn, to burn brightly and whatever. It's just go, it's doing it. So I'd say, my biggest advice for Leos. Not my biggest, but one of my advices for Leos is to follow the solar cycle, to have an eye on, okay, so we're in Aries, for example, in the making of this video. We're in Aries right now, we're going into Taurus soon. What does that mean for me? The sun is going through these signs. What do these signs mean? What does this mean for me? For example, just a tiny example. For me, in this Aries period, I've been extremely creative. I mean, and as all people with a lot of Leos are going to feel, a lot of Leo energy, they're going to feel this burst of creativity, this burst of spring, of getting things done. With Taurus, it's going to be a lot more practical, a lot more earthy. So for me, personally, I'm going to be focused a lot more on, my business practices of doing people's readings and stuff. As well as maybe some artistry, but not quite in the same way as during Aries. There's a lot of different subtleties, so I really urge you to check it out, because it's really fun with Leo energies to look at yourself and to figure out yourself. Leos are adept, perhaps actually the best, at figuring themselves out. Yes, our egos can be a challenge, but once we use our egos and not let the ego use us, we become so, illuminated, really, by ourselves. It's a beautiful process. Studying astrology, too, would be incredible for this cusp, because with that Virgo intelligence, the Virgo understanding of patterns and how things fit together, subtleties, differences, nuances, combined with the Leo, again, need for and propensity for self-illumination, it's just a powerful combination. Namaste.